Hi, I'm Nick Luckman.
And I'm Kevin Zhang, and this is Somewhat Accurate World History.
And today's topic's one of my favorites. It's how Pokemon came to be.
Wait, what? That has nothing to do with world history.
But it's in the script.
I don't care what that says. This is my show. I talk about what I want. So get off.
No! No! No!
Much better. So actually, we'll be talking about 50,000 years of Japanese history. Let's start from the beginning. No one really knows when Japan was settled. In fact, it's a hotly debated topic between many world historians, almost as hot as Channing Tatum. Most estimates place human settlement anywhere between 50,000 BCE to 30,000 BCE, starting with the Paleolithic hunters and gatherers. But all this controversy between historians is making me feel so uncomfortable that I have to switch to camera 2. Oh hey camera 2, so here we go. The first time period that most people can actually agree on is the Jomon period. Wait, Jomon? Jamin? Jomon? One sec.
Jomon.
Ah! Almost had it! So close. Anyways, this time period was between 10,000 to 300 BCE. They primarily were hunters and gatherers. Even though they weren't agricultural, they still managed to settle in small village-like communities. The
Jomon,
whatever, are most well known for their pottery. Cue the dramatic slideshow. First time that Japan became fully agricultural was during the Yayoi time period.
Yayoi.
That's what I meant. From 300 BCE to 300 CE. The Yayoi were much more advanced than the Jomon, largely due to wet rice cultivation. This technology is thought to have been brought to Japan from Korea and South China somewhere in the period of 1000 BCE to 100 CE. Also introduced from off-island was bronze and ironworking. The Japanese used these technologies to create weapons, armor, tools, and other implements. A social structure that organized the people into hundreds of clans was also introduced in this time period. The next time period is known as the Kofun time period, named after the large tomb mounds in which the leaders were buried in. These tombs became more and more extravagant as the time period wore on. During the time period, a highly aristocratic society with militaristic rulers developed. Its horse-riding warriors wore armor, carried swords and other weapons, and used advanced militaristic methods like those of Northeast Asia. In the 5th century, the Yamato clans emerged victorious from the inner clan fighting and established themselves as leaders of the Honshu Island in the northern half of Kaishu. Another development under the Yamato was the adoption of Shinto as the state religion. Let's go to the thought bubble. Shinto is a belief system native to Japan. It does not have a founder, nor does it have sacred scriptures like the Bible or the Quran. Since Shinto is deeply rooted in the Japanese people and their traditions, propaganda and preachings are not common either. The central deities in Shinto are called kamis. There are a large variety of kamis, some related to natural objects and creatures, while some guard certain clans and areas. There are sacred spirits which take the form of things and concepts important to life, such as wind, mountains, rain, trees, rivers, and fertility. Humans become kami after they die. There are also 4 major affirmations in Shinto: tradition and family, love of nature, physical cleanliness, and matsuri, or worship of the kami. However, there is no absolute right or wrong, and nobody is perfect. Shinto is an optimistic faith in which humans are thought to be fundamentally good. The Asuka period, starting from 552 CE to 645 CE, can actually be divided into 2 separate periods within itself. The Asuka period, which lasted up to the Taikei reforms, and then the Haku period, which had more of the Tang and Sui influence from China. The Taikei reforms were a set of doctrines established by Emperor Kotok in 645 CE. The reform began with land reform, based on Confucian ideas and philosophies from China. During the start of the Taikei reforms, Japan saw a shift towards more structured and more bureaucratic forms of government, based largely on Chinese models. China also managed to manifest itself into Japan's religion. The Mahayana form of Buddhism was also spread to the island. Shinto pretty much took Buddha and made him into another kami. In fact, many Buddhists also admit adherence to Shinto. The Nara time period started from 710 CE to 794 CE. This time period is marked by the change of Japan's capital to Nara. Like the time period before, China continued to play a vital role in defining Japan. The Japanese adopted the Chinese written character system, China's sense and fashion, and of course, the continuation of Buddhism was still prominent. The next time period is defined yet again by another change in Japan's capital, this time to Heian-koi. The Heian time period lasted from 794 CE to 1188 CE. This time period is significant because in 838 CE, Japan stopped contact with China. Instead, they came up with their own writing system, known as kana. Also during this time, the Bushu, or warrior class, grew to greater power. But when Japan became governed under the Kamakura shogunate, it marked a period for Japan's history. This was when samurai, along with the warrior caste, emerged. Feudalism was also established at this time. However, even with these advancements, there was continuous disunity and violence. This made Buddhism even more popular and eventually led to an additional two sects, Jodo Shu and Zen. Also during this time period, the Mongols tried to invade Japan.
We started filming.
Yeah, like hours ago.
You're not doing Pokemon, are you?
Nope, this is 50,000 years of Japanese history.
What? Get out! Gosh, much better. The Azuchi Momoyama period was between 1568 and 1600, and is mainly characterized by the attempts of Oda Nobunaga and Toyotomi Hideyoshi to reunify Japan after the Civil War period. Their exploits provided the foundation for modern Japan. All these attempts to reunify Japan are making me so uncomfortable that I have to turn to camera 2. Hey there, camera 2. You're looking good today. Between 1600 and 18... Nope, not feeling comfortable. Let's go to camera 3. Hey there, camera 3. Between 1600 and 1868, Japan was covered by the... Nope, new camera. Hey, camera 4, much better. Between 1600 and 1868, Japan was covered by the Tokugawa shogunate. The feudal government was comprised of a shogun who ruled over daimyo that governed their land with relative autonomy. Daimyo employed a warrior class called the samurai. The samurai were a hereditary class and were placed above commoners in the very strict social hierarchy. The shogunate also expelled all foreigners except for the Dutch and the Chinese during this period. The shogun ensured stability in many ways, one of which was forcing all daimyo to retain a residence at Edo that they were forced to live in periodically. While this maintained stability, it didn't make the daimyo very happy. This was only accentuated when a foreign intrusion rocked Japan. Now it's time for the open letter. An open letter to Pokemon. But first, let's see what's in the secret compartment today. Favorite Pokemon game ever, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness.
No more Pokemon.
I don't care what you say, this is my segment. Dear Pokemon, you were the first video game I ever got when I got Pokemon Fire Red version when I was 6 years old. Since then, you've provided me hours of entertainment as I attempt to level up my Pokemon and defeat the Elite Four. Also, you're a great example of how far Japan has come since the Meiji Restoration. I mean, back then, you were just a bunch of feudal lords fighting for power. But today, you're such an economic powerhouse that you sell millions of dollars of electronics to Americans, especially kids, so that they can just waste their lives and be lazy. Best wishes, Nick Luckman. In 1853, Commander Matthew Perry arrived in Edo Bay, present-day Tokyo, with an armada of steam-powered vessels. This display of power, along with China's loss in the Opium Wars, caused Japan to sign unfair trade treaties that opened their borders to foreigners for the first time in almost 220 years. These treaties gave the already unhappy daimyo enough reason to rebel against the Tokugawa shogunate. After a few years of civil war, the shogunate was replaced with the restored Emperor Meiji, or Enlightened One. Under Emperor Meiji, Japan went through a period of intense westernization. Within one generation, Japan had constructed a modern infrastructure and military. Along with the modernization came expansion, mainly through the Sino-Japanese War against China and the Russo-Japanese War, both of which they won. This began the trend of Japanese colonization in East Asia and the Pacific. The Taisho period corresponded with the reign of Emperor Yoshihito and continued to make Japan's government more democratic. Voting rights for men were first expanded, and then, in 1925, the tax requirement for voting was abolished. Sorry, ladies, you can't vote till after World War II. Also in this time period was World War I, which Japan joined on the side of Britain and the Triple Entente, and then after the war, Japan would join the League of Nations. The Taisho period ended with the death of Emperor Yoshihito in 1926. Emperor Hirohito's ascension to emperor after Emperor Yoshihito's death marked the beginning of the Showa period. In 1930, while the democratic powers struggled with the Great Depression, fascist Italy and Germany appeared to have the right idea. With these ideals in mind, Japan eventually withdrew from the League of Nations in 1933. The Japanese invasion of China in 1937 is what some describe as the beginning of World War II. They soon began to expand further throughout East Asia and the Pacific, including French Indochina, present-day Vietnam, and Indonesia. In 1940, Japan, Italy, and Germany formed the Tripartite Pact. Japan continued to combat the Allied powers until 1945 when they surrendered, forcing Japan and all its holdings to be placed under Allied control. While occupied, Japan became a parliamentary government again, and women gained the right to vote for the first time ever. Japan became totally demilitarized, and economic growth was encouraged. The period ended with the emperor's death in 1989. The Heisei period spans 1989 to the present. The Heisei period is by far my favorite, and I bet that surprised everybody in the classroom. I mean, nobody knew they made Pokemon during this time period. However, Japan continues to struggle with debt even as their stocks continue to rise in value. One reason for their stocks increasing value is stated by Robert Reed in his book Finding Japan, where he says, "It has often been said that the Japanese are geniuses at taking foreign ideas and adding a unique finishing touch." Also during this time period, there have been two major natural disasters. First, a 7.2 magnitude earthquake in Kobe in January 1995, then a 9.0 magnitude earthquake in March 2011 that led to a tsunami and a nuclear reactor meltdown. Another troubling development is the debate on what Japan's role in global conflict should be, which began during the First Gulf War. Some say they should continue to play pacifist like they have since being demilitarized. Others argue they should take a more active role. Japan's debate brings up some pressing questions about our own reality. Do you believe America should be the world's police? To what extent should we get involved in other people's problems? Knowing the answers to these questions is an important part of being a productive member of society. Thanks for watching.
Checkmate. I win. You gotta do the credits. I'm leaving.
No. Why? Ugh. Dang it. Somewhat Accurate World History was directed by me. Editing and graphics were done by Kevin, and both of us contributed to research and the script. And as they say in my hometown, I choose you, Pikachu!